Hello, everybody. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Thank you for tuning in. It's time for Cub Chat Live. It's my favorite time of the week. We're joined by our very usual guest. You know him. We call him Cub Chat Mike because we're friends like that. Mike, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Aaron. It's awfully good to see you.
It is great to see you as well. We've got a good topic for you guys today, as always. I can't believe it's already December. It's already almost holiday season. And before you know it, it'll be time for your blue and gold banquet. Mike, tell us what we're going to be talking about today.
Well, thanks, Aaron. And we are going to be talking about the Blue and Gold Banquet. And I suspect that anyone who's been involved in Cub Scouts at all knows about the Blue and Gold Banquet and has stories and things to tell. But for someone who may be new to Cub Scouting, what is this blue and gold business anyway? Well, the Blue and Gold Banquet, a blue and gold event, is the time for the pack to celebrate the pack's anniversary. It's the time to thank leaders and other adults and volunteers and to celebrate the founding of the Boy Scout movement, which occurred on February 8, 1910. And so February is a common month to have the Blue and Gold Banquet. Now, Aaron, there are many people I suspect who are watching now who have ideas or who have experiences of successful blue and gold banquets, of fun themes, and of things that went well. So I am hoping that during our session today, that those people contact you, email, and they give you those ideas or thoughts that we can pass on to everyone else. But I'm also interested in those blue and gold banquets, something that happened that didn't go well. What happened at your blue and gold banquet that you're not going to do that again? And so
I've got a story about that, Mike, just so you know, but go ahead.
Tell us about it now, because I want to hear about those things so people will know what not to do. Go ahead.
Exactly. Thank you, Mike. And as Mike said, just to clarify, you told me this before we started, there are no hard and fast rules about how you run your blue and gold banquet. We want to hear your ideas, hopefully your success stories. I want to give a quick shout out to April, who is watching. April's the Cub Master for Pack 8 and 1869. Two Cub Scouts, I think. Two Cub Scout packs. Thank you, April, for watching. Hi, Omid. Thank you for watching. Hello to John. Hello to Todd. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it very, very much. The Blue and Gold Banquet. So my story, Mike, I made a mistake at my Blue and Gold Banquet. Basically, I talked too much. I did not follow some advice that I have read later about, keeping it brief, kind of keeping it short. I had this speech prepared about how great scouting is and what a great year it's been. As you said, Mike, it kind of can be a celebration of scouting, the birthday of scouting. And boy, did I ever talk about scouting. And I began to realize I won't even say how long it went. I realized, though, after a certain amount of time, I was talking too much, too long. They were not there to hear me talk, Mike. They were there to have fun and celebrate with their friends and play games, which we had planned, things like that. That was my mistake. Mike, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do it.
Well, then one thing to put on the be concerned about list is when you have comments, be brief. Now, 100%. The first thing I want to mention to everyone is that there is no requirement that a pack have a blue and gold event or a blue and gold banquet. It's not part of any journey to excellence or requirements. You might try to squeeze it into the activity objective at Journey to Excellence, but I don't think it fits very well. The Blue and Gold Banquet is more of a Cub Scouting tradition. It's more of a pack tradition. And it doesn't have to be a banquet. Although, if the truth be told, eating is probably going to be involved. Okay, so what type of event is a blue and gold event? And the answer to that is basically anything goes. You can do anything you want. It can be elaborate. It can be very simple. So, for example, our pack every once in a while has an ice cream social for our blue and gold. The pack provides the ice cream. The dens bring the toppings. Now, sometimes we're a little bit more formal than that, and we'll bring in pizza and have a pizza dinner. And that's been successful in the past. You can be a little bit more elaborate and have a potluck where the parents can bring a dish in. You could go to a restaurant. You could have a formal dinner. There are no rules. You can just, the objective is to have fun and to celebrate scouting. Now, I believe there are three important things to remember when we talk about the Blue and Gold event. One, we're celebrating Cub Scouts. And number two, we want to do it right. It takes a lot of advanced planning. And then the third thing, we want to make it simple, but we want to have fun. So the first thing I think about is that the PAC committee should select a banquet chairman, maybe even a whole banquet committee, good people who are organized. And one of the first things they're going to do is to select a theme. And as you can imagine, a theme could be any one of dozens and dozens of different ideas. And Aaron, this would be a good time to put the list of possible themes on the screen right now for folks to look at.
We have compiled a list of a lot of theme ideas. I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Well, these are just, we have a total of 50 different themes here, but the sky's the limit. In my experience, the Knights of the Round Table is always a nice theme. The Pirates are a nice theme. And you can have the sports themes or aviation, Angry Birds, magic. I mean, there is, as you can look here at the list on the screen, it goes on and on. And this list is by no means exhaustive. I will tell you that I got on Google and Googled Blue and Gold Cub Scouts, and there is a mountain, there's a huge amount of information. And there are many lists of potential themes. And so if you're having if you're wondering at all, what should our PAC do this year? There are lots of suggestions out there. Now, Aaron, do you have some slides of some of the themes, some of the units that have chosen some of these themes? If so, let's take a look at them.
I do. That was a great time to take a look at those. And as we do that real quick, I want to give a few more shout outs. And to those of you watching, let us know in the comments what themes you use for your Blue and Gold banquet. The sky is the limit. Use your imagination. I also want to give a quick shout out to Miles, who was watching from Illinois. Melissa, who was watching from Las Vegas. Thank you guys for watching so much. Stephanie, she's from a Cub Scout PAC in Georgia. I know that you guys have probably started talking about your Blue and Gold ideas. Please share them with us in the comments. Sadia, I know you've started talking about your Blue and Gold banquet. You said, oh, you were excited to plan it. So maybe we haven't started yet. No problem. Scott's coming to us from Virginia. Wendy from Illinois. Thank you guys for tuning in so much. We appreciate it very much. We do have our first theme comment, Mike. Melissa, their theme, circus, scouting under the big top. I think that was one of the 50 on the list, right?
Whether it was or not, it's a great theme. Your imagination can just do crazy things with what you can do with a circus.
Love that, Melissa. Let us know, everybody else, what your themes are. And actually, we do have some photos to look at, but I want to have we have one question, Mike, that I want to address real quick. April says, I'm excited for our Blue and Gold this year. At our event, we'll be crossing over our Arrow of Light Scouts. Some PACs use Blue and Gold as a crossover, which I think is okay. Some folks have a separate crossover ceremony. Mike, any thoughts on that?
Yes. And I'm going to talk about this later, but it's not uncommon to have a program at your Blue and Gold banquet. And that program could include, well, first of all, it could include a court of honor, awards can be given out. It could be a crossover. You could have a program with a magician. In other words, because there's no rules, because there's no requirement to have a Blue and Gold, certainly a crossover would be just fine.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Brian. Behind the scenes, Brian. Let's thank you, Sadia. They also do a crossover ceremony. Brian, let's look at some photos. We collected some photos of some blue and gold banquets that kind of go along with some of our themes here. We were not able to find a photo for every single theme, but we found a lot. Brian, whenever you're ready. It looks to me like a Star Wars themed blue and gold banquet
Well,
right
it
here.
could
Look at
be
those
Star
lightsabers, Mike.
Wars. It probably is Star Wars with those lightsabers, but it could be a military theme, you know, the crossing under the sabers. But look at those cubs. Aren't they having a good time? And a saber or these pool toys, it looks to me like, would be easy to make, and the kids would have fun whapping each other on the head with them.
Yes, that's the great thing about those. I think those are pool floats, like you say. You can whack each other and basically be okay. Brian, what's next? Now, this actually, I believe, is another Star Wars theme. Mike, you can see the stormtroopers on the cake there. You can see a TIE fighter. You can see an X-Wing on the cake there. And this looks like the Star Wars dessert tray here.
Yes, that does. Next slide.
Olympics. Olympics was another one of our themes, Mike.
Yes, the Olympics, and that you can do an awful lot with that. And here's an Olympic cake that's going to be right in the middle of the celebration. Next slide. Oh, well, we know what that is.
We have three Harry Potter. We have three Harry Potter pictures, Mike, and this pack here went all out. Really decorated their meeting space to have a really cool Harry Potter themed banquet. Even the adults got into it. I'm sure in many cases the adults have just as much fun as the kids do.
A quick story, Aaron. When I was at the World Jamboree in Thailand years and years ago, the original Harry Potter character from the movie was there with his troupe. And he, of course, created much interest and as a celebrity.
Wow,
but he was
fun.
He was a scout.
Very cool. Very fun. Awesome. Awesome. The next theme we have kind of a Western theme. In this case, this is their most wanted scouts. I believe these are their Arrow of Light scouts they probably had a crossover ceremony. They're about to join Scouts BSA.
Well, a Western theme, of course, works very, very well, especially for us in Arizona. But wasn't that a clever idea? You've got your Arrow of Light scouts in the wanted section there. Very, very clever. Again, anything your imagination can come up with. Here's a surfing maybe.
Yep. I think they called it a luau theme. Yep. Sure. They called it a Hawaiian luau. Very, very cool.
That looks great.
And kind of a celebration of Cub Scouts here. As we said, a lot of folks, the Blue and Gold Banquet is to celebrate the birthday of the Boy Scouts, which was February 1910. So, you know, you could sort of do a tribute to the Cub Scout slogan and all that good stuff like that.
That's what they've done there. It looks great. Oh, look at these centerpieces.
Yes, we've got a campfire. I believe that's what that is a campfire. This is what they call this.
It looks like each one of the Cub Scouts has his picture on a little doll type apparatus, and the pine cones. That is a very clever theme.
Very cool. Yes. This next one, this is actually from, I believe, the same event, Mike. And those are s'mores back there. This is another sort of camping style blue and gold themed event.
And why not a camping style? I mean, that's what we are. We are Cub Scouts, and we love the outdoors. And sometimes units go on campouts. So this is a perfect theme.
Very, very cool. Pretty obvious what this one is. Yes. This is a brilliant Twinkie decorated, dressed up as a minion. Pretty smart, pretty fun. Again, Mike said it earlier. This is a chance for to get those creative juices flowing.
Right. And what we're doing now is we are thinking of various themes, and we're trying to do this well in advance because of all the additional work that we're going to need to do. And some of these ideas will take more work than others, but this one I think is a very clever idea, and you know the Scouts would love it.
I see quite a few folks in our comments are tagging some other folks in the comments. That's a great idea. Good job, folks. Feel free to share this video with anyone who you think might be interested. And also a quick reminder that once we're done here today, the video will stay on this Facebook page. Wherever you're watching it right now, you can go back and watch it from the beginning. Legos, Legos were popular when I was a kid. Mike, they've been around forever, still just as cool as they ever were, especially with the Lego movie and things like that.
And a Lego theme has been very popular.
And then our last photo that we have that go along with our themes, movie night was one of the themes that we had, Mike. This is not a bag of popcorn as much as you might think. This is actually a cake decorated to look like a bag of popcorn. I think that's a pretty creative idea.
Oh, that is a very, very creative idea. So, Aaron, what we have been talking about here and showing pictures of are various themes, because the PAC committee, when they select the banquet chairman, one of the first things that they need to do is to select a theme. Anything that you can imagine can be a good theme. Next, after you've got the theme, your committee, your banquet chairman, needs to select a date, a time and place. If you're going to have the blue and gold at off-site where you perhaps don't have your regular meetings, you may need, and if it's a popular site, you may need to get that site booked early. You need to consider the adequate space for the ceremony, entertainment. Is there space for entertainment and displays and parking? So when you go off-site, there are a number of things you have to think about. And of course, family cost, the cost of each individual family is going to be significant. Okay, so we've got a theme, we've selected a date, time, and place. And now we need to consider our meal plan. What are we going to do? And again, we talked about an ice cream social, pizza perhaps, a potluck where maybe each family brings the main dish and an extra dish, or maybe the PAC provides the main course and the family brings a vegetable dessert or a salad. And I would be interested if there are any units out there for their blue and gold that have actually cooked their own meal as part of the blue and gold. You could have a blue and gold outside, so you could have Dutch ovens and barbecue or whatever. So I'd be very interested if any unit has ever done an outside cook your own blue and gold banquet. For the dinner, remember the method of serving isn't particularly important, but keep the cost reasonable, serve food generally acceptable by all families, and get everyone served as quickly as possible. Okay, now I'm assuming that the blue and gold banquet has been put on your PAC calendar from the very beginning of the PAC year. But now we need to get the word out. We need to email the families and let them know to reserve this date, because at this particular function, we want to invite not just the families, but grandparents. We want to invite guests such as teachers. This would be a good time to bring your charter partner representative into your unit. We're celebrating scouting. Let them see what we do. You could have your school principal invited. How about the scoutmaster of the feeder troops that you have relationships with? Dignitaries. Don't forget your unit commissioner if you have one. How about former Cub Masters and former Cub Scouts of that unit? So consider who you want to invite. And my thought is you want to invite more people rather than less. One of my favorite stories, our PAC many, many years ago invited the school superintendent of a fairly large district. And this was a very, very formal fellow. And he came dressed in his coat and tie, and we had our wonderful dinner. And I have a picture somewhere in my house, my scout collection, of this school superintendent out in the middle of the floor doing tootie-ta with his thumbs up, thumbs up, elbows back. And everyone was having fun, even the school superintendent who we invited. Okay, now we've got the word out. Hopefully we've collected RSVPs along the way. Now we want to consider a display of scouting skills, things that the PAC has done. as we summarize the year's activities, pack, din, crafts, and we want to consider centerpieces and other decorations. And I strongly recommend that we have the scouts themselves be very involved in this function. A number of Cub Chat Lives ago, I had pictures of a pack that were making paper mache elements where they would pack them with toy candy, and then the pack would decorate them. And these were the centerpieces. Our particular pack has the meeting before the blue and gold dedicated to just making those centerpieces, and then we have them at the center as centerpieces on the various tables. And Aaron, this would be a good time to show some of those centerpieces that we've collected here as we prepared for this presentation.
Absolutely. We're going to ask behind the scenes Brian to get those together. And I want to give a quick shout out to Jose, who's watching from Puerto Rico. Thank you, Jose, for tuning in. The Montana Council is watching, Mike. Thank you guys for tuning in. Ali's from Pack 49. They're watching. Thank you, Ali. Omid notes that minions are very excellent scouts. I agree, Omid. Thank you for chiming in. Melissa says their pack is doing a meal, a small program, and possibly strolling circus performers. Very, very cool. They do a drawing for scout gear. Very, very nice. Valerie says they shared this to their pack page. Thank you so much, Valerie. Yes, sharing it to your Cub Scout Facebook page. Great idea. Appreciate that. And Rob notes that he likes coming to the blue and gold banquets. He's there for the food, Mike, basically, as a lot of people are. Mike, I bet you guys go all out for your food too. Okay, Brian, let's show. We do have some photos of some sort of creative centerpieces, most of which, to the best of our knowledge, were made by the Cub Scouts. Probably kind of like a Pinewood Derby car. Maybe you make it with some guidance from the adults,
sure,
but the Cub Scouts are the creative minds behind it. One of the things we found pretty common, as not surprising for a blue and gold banquet, a lot of the centerpieces are blue and gold. Probably not surprising, right?
This looks like it was part of a centerpiece made by one of those number 10 cans. Look at this. Look at this picture.
This is a nice one here.
This unit has gone all over the top. This isn't a pizza or a potluck. It looks to me as if this is a very elaborate blue and gold, which of course is possible. It depends on what the unit wants to do, but that is incredible with the table decorations and the blue and the gold. I think I see some wine bottles on the table. I'm not sure, but but in any event, this is obviously a very formal event.
Sparkling water, right?
Sparkling water,
say
absolutely.
Sparkling water, exactly.
Okay, yes. Our next picture. Now, there's some centerpieces. The Scouts can put those together and go on the middle, put them on the middle of each one of the pages. Those are very attractive looking centerpieces.
Very well
balloons.
Well,
why not?
Boy, yeah, that's
balloons?
A very common thing. Blue and gold balloons. Absolutely. You'll see those everywhere. Easy, inexpensive, and they look great. Kids love them.
Some more of that.
Another sort of, yep. That sort of crepe paper, I think is what you call that, Mike. That you can sort of crink and fold up into a nice little pattern like that. Those always work very well. And the little, the kind of like flower type things there. Very, very cool.
The Cubs can make those. The Cubs can make those.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, the point I wanted to make there, though, was you really want the Scouts to make the to make the centerpieces. You want them involved in the crafts as much as possible. This is their celebration, and you want them to have fun and participate in that.
Yes, definitely. Okay. As Mike said, no rules. You can do whatever you want, have fun. It's really just all about celebrating scouting. Go ahead, Mike.
Now we get to the dinner itself, and we'll need either a master of ceremonies or perhaps the Cub master, because we do want to have an opening ceremony. There would be an invocation, and then we need to welcome, introduce people that are there. And I have my note, Aaron, on the side. Be brief. So We were anticipating that you may have stubbed your toe on that earlier. It wouldn't be
Absolutely.
a bad idea to have a greeting from the charter partner, but basically the introduction, and then you have the dinner itself. After dinner, there are any number of things that you can do. There can be entertainment. Maybe there's some group singing. Maybe each one of the dens has a skit. Maybe you could have someone review the scouting year for everyone who's there that wasn't necessarily participating in each activity, the guests that you've invited. You could make after the blue and gold, you could have an award ceremony, a court of honor, and perhaps, as the individual suggested earlier in the program, a court of honor or a crossover to Scouts BSA. You could have the Order of the Arrow involved in that crossover. Again, it's whatever your imagination comes up with that you think your unit will enjoy. You want to thank the volunteers. You want to thank the leaders. This may be the time for announcements. And then, of course, you want a closing ceremony. And the blue and gold is traditionally, in my experience, the February PAC meeting, but it doesn't have to be the February PAC meeting. It could be at a different time. And you could have it not as a PAC meeting, have it as a separate event altogether. Here is, Aaron, here is a suggested time limit, because there's a lot of moving parts in a blue and gold banquet, especially as it becomes more sophisticated and more elaborate. So here's the timetable. 4 months out, select your chairman, perhaps a committee, set the date, time, place, theme, reserve the space that you're going to if you need to do that. 3 months out, it's not too early for the dens to work on their decorations, the centerpieces, start to plan what kind of a program you're going to have. 2 months out, make your guest list. 1 month out, mail your invitations, complete the decorations. Maybe you'll want printed programs with the blue and gold. 2 weeks out, arrange for whatever awards you're going to do, update or complete your decorations, verify your RSVP, see how many people you're going to have. Then, of course, on the banquet day, you set up the room, enjoy the banquet, and you may need to, of course, have a committee to help you clean up afterwards. Then, and this is very important, I think, at your next PAC committee meeting, debrief. What went well? What didn't go well? What will we want to do next year? Maybe you even choose your theme of the next year. And maybe even your current blue and gold chairman will introduce the replacement who's going to be your blue and gold chairman for next year. So the bottom line here, Aaron, is that the blue and gold event or banquet can be anything and everything you want it to be. This is your opportunity to be creative. But the bottom line is you want those scouts to have had a good time, to have fun. When they leave that meeting, wow, you want them to say, we want to come back next year.
Great advice, Mike. Very, very good. Valerie notes that from Western New York, where she is, it's normally cold. They like to do stuff outdoors, but that's a little bit tricky with blue and gold. Understandable. Valerie might need to stick inside. Nicholas might have that same problem. He's given us a shout out from PAC 134 in Rush, New York. Thank you for watching, Nicholas. Appreciate that very much. Valerie also notes, Mike, we didn't mention this, a nice way to review the year would be to have a projector, which would scroll through pictures of PAC events. That's very cool, a slideshow kind of, because it's a celebration of scouting. It's a celebration of everything you've done and learned during the year. I like that a lot. Mike, this has been a great show, but there's one thing missing. Cubs Scout Mike, when you come on, we need dad jokes. We haven't gotten any dad jokes today. Do we have dad jokes?
Yes, and I asked 2 questions when we first started. And the first question was, what baked goods would a Cub Scout bring to a blue and gold banquet? What baked goods would the Cub Scout bring? Well, they wouldn't bring cupcakes, but they would bring cub cakes. So cupcakes to the blue and gold banquet. And the
Perfect.
second terrible dad joke, I know these are horrible, but you know, it's hard getting really good anyway.
Yes.
The second one is, what do messy Cub Scouts eat at a blue and gold banquet? What do messy Cub Scouts eat at a blue and gold banquet? Well, they don't eat corn on the cob, but rather they eat corn on the cub. Okay.
Perfect.
Terrible dad jokes. I'm sorry, Aaron, but there you are.
That is a perfect way to end the show. Mike, this has been great. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time today. As always, great advice. Thanks to everybody in the comments who shared their advice. We appreciate you watching. As a reminder, this show will stay here on the Facebook page where you watch. You can go back and watch it again, share it with your friends. Go back and watch previous episodes. Mike's been on with us before and shared his wisdom before. Mike, any final thoughts on blue and gold before we end the show today?
The only final thought is, if you have had an experience where you've had a blue and gold, where you have cooked the food there at the blue and gold, I'd love for you to pass that on to Aaron. I'd love to hear it. But anyway, Cub Scouting is the fun. It's where the action is, and the blue and gold banquet is a place that you can really let it all hang out and celebrate Cub Scouting.
Awesome. Awesome. Valerie says, thank you, gents. Thank you, Valerie, for watching. We appreciate it so much. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.